So this is the lab 1 in Solution Architect series. The lab is exploring AWS Identity and Access Management, which is IAM. So task 1 is to explore the users and groups and inspect policies. In this task, you explore the user and groups that were created for you in IAM. So let's go to IAM, and under user we have three users: user 1, user 2, user 3. Let's choose user 1. Permissions. So there is no permission for user 1. And user 1 is also not a group of any not a member of any group. And security credentials. So notice that user 1 is assigned a console password. This allows the user to access AWS Management Console. In the navigation pane on the left, choose user groups, and there are three user groups: EC2 admin, EC2 support, and S3 support. Choose EC2 support. And we can see in permissions we have Amazon EC2 read-only access. So a policy defines which action are allowed or denied for specific AWS resources. This policy is granting permission to list and describe information about Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Elastic Load Balancing, and Amazon CloudWatch, and EC2 autoscaling. This ability to view resources but not modify them is ideal for assigning to a support role. So it is explaining about the policy. That statement in IAM policy have the following basic structure. First is effect, which says whether allow or deny the permission. So we can see here we have allow permissions. And second is action, specifies the API call that can be made against an AWS service. So here, as we can see in CloudWatch, the action is list metrics. So this is the specific API call for this service, which is CloudWatch. Next is resources. Define the scope of entities covered by the policy rule. For example, a specific Amazon simple storage service, S3 bucket, or Amazon EC2 instance. An asterisk means any resource. So let's see another user group which is S3 Sport. Let's go to permission tab and we have Amazon S3 read only access. So this policy has permission to get and list for all resources in Amazon S3 in the navigation pane. Now let's go to user group again and choose EC2 admin and go to permissions. So this group is different from the other two. Instead of managed policy, the group has inline policy, which is a policy assigned to just one user or group. Inline policies are typically used to apply permission for specific situation. So this policy is granting permission to describe information about Amazon EC2 instances and ability to start and stop the instances. So business scenario is for the remainder of this lab, you work with these users and groups to enable permission that support the following business scenario. Your company is growing its use of AWS services and is using many Amazon EC2 instances and Amazon S3 buckets. You want to give access to new staff based on their job function as indicated in the following table. So for user 1, we need to sign in group S3 Sport and permission should be read only access to Amazon S3. And likewise for user 2 and user 3. So now task 2 is to add user to the group. So the scenario is you hired user 1 into a role where they provide support for Amazon S3. Now in this task, you add them to S3 support group so that they inherit the necessary permissions through attached Amazon S3 read-only access policy. So let's go to user group, choose Amazon, EC2 support, go to user and add user. We need to use, we need to add user 1. Let's add user and it is as simple as that. Task 2.2 is to add user 2 to EC2 support group. So now we will go to EC2 support group. So user 1 needed to be added in S3 support group, not EC2. So in EC2 support, we need to add user 2 and user 3 needed to be added to admin group. So task 3 is to sign in and test user permission. So let's go to dashboard. Yes, we do have sign in URL for IAM user in this account. Let's copy this link here. Next is to test user one permission. So now we will log in as a user one with these username and password. So it says choose the service menu and choose S3. So choose the name of one of your bucket. Because this user is part of S3 support group in IAM, they have permission to view a list of Amazon S3 bucket and their content. Now test whether the user has access to Amazon EC2. So let's go to EC2. So as we can see, we do not have permissions in any of the section. And it says you are not authorized to perform this operation. Describe instance. So user 1 is not authorized to perform EC2 describe instance because no identity based policy allows the EC2 describe instances action. So it says sign out. Next is to test user 2 permissions. So let's go to EC2, and as we can see we have permission to view the instance. Let's try to stop this instance and it says fail to stop. You are not authorized to perform this operation. Now let's go to S3. So it says, and you don't have permission to list buckets because user 2 does not have permission to use Amazon S3. So let's sign out of it. Let's log in as user 3. Go to EC2. Go to instances. Try to stop and successfully initiated stopping. So this lab is completed. Let's first submit the lab and then wait for grading. As you can see, we got 15 out of 15. So this means all the tasks are completed successfully. Thank you.